taking that trophy and going back to Washington would be great.
That would be something.
You guys had some fun times while I was gone, but that's done.
I'm taking this back with me to the other side of the country. We'll see what Jerry's capable of next weekend. We begin here with Merriam, a misty rainforest. We'll see what land he wants to search up here. He's going to play a Green Sun Zenith, so he's going to get to a basic to play around Wasteland and a Dried Arbor that can die to Lightning Bolt and Wasteland. Over to Ellis, we are going to go. You see he does have 2 Lightning Bolts over there, Wooded Foothills and Nibble Mongoose. A couple other options here as well. So
What's really compelling while we're talking a moment about the Players' Championship is Ross has just catapulted himself into the conversation for an end-of-the-year invite.
absolutely. After this fantastic weekend.
I mean, this could be a 40-point weekend potentially.
Volcanic Island here from Ellis. Both players will shuffle each other's decks in just a moment.
My question is, did Ross shuffle twice because of the Zenith?
Yeah, that's important. Even though there are no cozy strictures involved.
Yeah. We do have our spotter making sure that these things are taken care of.
There's a bolt to take down the Arbor. Gotta imagine you've got to keep Merriam's mana low.
Yeah,
don't let him do too many things. It's not like he doesn't have a lot of lands in his deck.
It is, anytime this deck gets any sort of forward momentum, your 1-for-1 spot removal doesn't matter anymore. So a lot of it is just, you have to keep them off of mana, and then another part of it is, those cards aren't worth very much later on anyway.
There's a Heritage Druid. Now Gaia's Cradle into a Wirewood Symbiote to presumably protect the Druid. Brainstorm the draw here for Ellis. You see Ellis's hand right now. He's got another Bolt, he's got another Mongoose, 2 copies of Delver of Secrets, so he might just play 2 Delvers, go to the skies, set it up with Brainstorm the following turn, and just hope this is good enough.
With no protection, I don't believe he has Force of Will in his hand. It's really hard to just tap out here for 2 creatures. I think he's going to want to use at least 1 removal spell. I agree with this play.
There's your Bolt on the Wirewood.
Just got to respect the Elves' ability to go off from this spot.
Also, this is slowing down the Cradle, too.
Keep in mind that even just natural order for a Craterhoof Behemoth, forget about going off, just putting a 5/5 into play, that's really hard for Rug Delver to beat.
Now there's a Delver. Merriam's going to untap and take a draw here. You see the glimpse in his hand. He may have some interest in trying to go that route if he has more lands.
He has natural order in hand as well. So Jason getting very paid off for his decision to use the Lightning Bolts the way that he has. He might be facing that in Craterhoof this turn or even last turn if he hadn't been doing that.
Going to play a Glimpse here. Seems as though it might be used as a test spell, but it might be so much more than that. There's a Heritage Druid. Merriam going to draw a card. And not the best Glimpse turn we've ever seen.
Just cycling, it looks like. But you can see his hand. He has Birchlord Ranger and Natural Order. So that's enough next turn to generate enough mana to put Craterhoof Behemoth into play at the minimum.
Ellis will take a draw at the Tarmogoyf. You see the Brainstorm in his hand. He could have set up Delver that turn if he wanted to. He opted not to. He'll cast the Brainstorm now. So a little bit deeper in the deck here for Jason. 1 is a Trop, 2 is a Volcanic, 3 is a Nimble. And what you see there is a hand of a lot of creatures, no spells, but Merriam does not know that. And that's the important part.
But he may have to get a move on anyway. He's playing against a Rug Delver list with 2 main deck copies of Forkbolt. So I think Ross is going to err on the side of aggression anyway, because look at his board right now. Forkbolt would be a disaster.
Two cards going to go back. Brainstorm will go to the bin. Here comes Delver. And predictably no blocks there for Merriam. Now there's a Tarmogoyf. Shields are down here outside of Force of Will. Ross will take a draw. Is he willing to pull the trigger? Opponent did just resolve a Brainstorm after all.
Well, again, I don't think he gets much by waiting.
That's a Birchlord Ranger. Tap a whole bunch of mana. That'll be 3. And that's a Quirion Ranger, so 2 green floating. That's 4. That's a natural order. Sacrifice a Heritage Druid. That resolves. Time to probably go get Craterhoof. There's that.
So that's a trigger for +4/+4.
So Heritage is sitting at a 5/5 Behemoth. Pretty large as well. Now here's an attack. Again, Tarmogoyf, even though that's big, it's only a 4/5.
And this is what I alluded to before. Just forget about killing in one shot with Craterhoof Behemoth. This is a huge attack, and Ross has a 5/5 left over at the end of it, which Jason is not equipped to trade with.
Jason's going to take all this damage. Ross will replay the Forest. Ross's card in his hand right now is just a Craterhoof Behemoth. That's it. So he's kind of all in at this point.
Well, the Craterhoof Behemoth is a big deal here because I believe he can just hard cast that next turn and attack with the 2 hooves.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he can, and he may have, but we'll never know. Jason Ellis going to concede that game. Ross Merriam wins game number 1 here over Jason Ellis. Ellis up a game over Rug Delver. You see Ross a little surprised to see maybe that Craterhoof get into play, but it got the job done. Those players took a look at the sideboards, but we're going to bring it back to the booth here very quickly. Prepare for our trivia giveaway. The 6-month question will be coming from you, Mr. Patrick Sullivan. The rules very briefly. He'll ask the question. Hashtag your answer, the hashtag SCG Premium. Make sure you're following at SCG Live. And as usual, we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. So it is not a race. It is about accuracy. And don't forget that these giveaways that we do are at the sole discretion of Star City Games. No way affiliated with Twitch TV here, so it's all on us.
Ross Merriam won the Standard Open yesterday. I guess technically this morning.
Yes.
He's in the elimination rounds right now in the semifinals. He's up a game. Has the potential to win both Opens in the same weekend. Only one person in the history of the Star City Games Open Series has done this. Name that person. We will take either that player's full name or a widely accepted nickname. Tweet that answer, SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. Another hint, they're going to be coming out of self-imposed retirement to battle the Invitational in Columbus this coming weekend.
And again, if you can name that player, hashtag SCG Premium, make sure you're following SCG Live. We'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round as we take a look at sideboards now. I'll take a look at Jason Ellis's in front of me. You're going to find definitely some interaction here. You've got a Dismember, additional copy of Tree Nemesis, a Vendilion Click, a Spell Snare, 2 Pyroblast, 2 copies of Rough and Tumble. That's the big one. 2 Grafdigger's Cage, a Pithing Needle, an Ancient Grudge, a Red Elemental Blast, a Flusterstorm, and a Vortex. You got to love Rough Tumble. I think you got to love Cage here as well to slow down Green Sun Zenith as well as Natural Order. You can make argument for a Pithing Needle if you'd like. I don't think I love Spell Snare. I do like the Dismember, though.
Yeah, even paying 4 life for a removal spell is worth it here. Anything to break up Ross's density of creatures. Yeah. On Ross's side here, a Kasali Primate, a Scavenging Ooze, a World Spine Worm, 3 Abrupt Decays, a Galactic, a Progenitus, 3 Cabal Therapy, a Natural Order, and 3 copies of Thoughtseize. To me, this really comes down to how many flex slots does Ross have in the deck? How many expendable slots does he think he has? I think that he definitely wants to bring in the Progenitus. Again, Jason, if he's going to be doing anything, it's going to be trying to kill all of his creatures. Natural Order for Craterhoof Behemoth becomes much harder to do in this world when he's playing against Rough Tumble, additional removal spells. So I think he wants the ability to win with Natural Order from a very low base. Progenitus allows this to happen. Abrupt Decay is a nice luxury to have. It breaks up a lot of Jason's early pressure, and the pressure is really the thing that compels Ross to play into removal or go faster than he would like or play into Force of Will. So if he feels that he has the slots, I think he may want to bring in the Abrupt Decays as well, but it really depends how much of the deck Ross feels is set in stone and how many flexible slots he feels he has access to.
Again, when we do have an update on our backup match, we will certainly let you guys know on what's happening there between Jerry, me, and David Shields. You've got Bug Delver versus Death and Taxes on that side. Don't forget that me is the #1 seed, and you're going to beat Death and Taxes in his quarterfinal matchup, defeating Robert Sullivan 2-1. So we'll see if me can keep it up here against Shields, a very, very skilled Death and Taxes player.
Yep. Shield has been very impressive on camera. I mean, it goes without saying, again, Grand Prix champion, 2-time finalist. Besides that, not a career with a lot of, not the same profile or same celebrity as a lot of other players, but very skilled. And all of his matches on camera so far this weekend has confirmed that.
When I think of Death and Taxes, I think of Thomas and Voltson and some of the other players in Europe. And that's actually the reason that Shields picked up the deck. He played in the last round of the Somerset Open last summer. Actually, it was the Somerset Invitational. He played against Thomas and Voltson in the last round on day 1. They ended up getting a draw, and then Voltson ended up conceding to Shields. And he said, wow, that deck is way better than I thought it was when Shields was playing it. And that's actually what got him to purchase the entire deck, and that's why he's playing it now.
when you look at just at deck lists where people can play with cards like Dark Ritual or Jace the Mind Sculptor, and you see Sarah Avenger and Flicker Wisp, it looks like total nonsense. Then you watch it in action, you can see the method to the madness.
Yeah. So those players are still doing battle in game number right now. But again, if we do have an update for you guys, we will certainly let you know how the match is going between me and Shields. But we turn our attention back here between Merriam and Ellis. Merriam, the highlight of this tournament right now, wins this morning of the Standard Open and looking to go back-to-back in the Legacy Open. Up a game against Jason Ellis. Things probably get tougher here after sideboard, though.
I think so too. And that's pretty commonplace for elves. The deck is such a tight engine that there's not a lot of wiggle room. So there's some matchups where they get to bring in some real haymakers. And in the top 8, Ross got to play against High Tide, where bringing in your discard spells is excellent. But generally speaking, combo matchups get worse for the combo player most post-board games in Legacy.
Both players are going to take a look at their opening hands here. Again, Jason Ellis will be on the play. Both of these players did top 8 the Standard Open, and now they're in the top 8 of Legacy as they do battle a Ponder. Take a look at a Forcible and a couple of lands.
Jason's hand looks a little soft. There is a Dismember there, so a lot of this depends on whether or not he has a shuffle effect.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to take Dismember. See the hand, there's a Stifle, there's a Wasteland, a couple other options. Merriam with a Force into a Deathrite Shaman, that's a pretty good one to kill. Ellis will take a draw here. You see the Tarmogoyf now, Force will add it to the hand.
Well, he may want to play Goyf this turn. It looks like he's going to go with this conservative approach. I was going to say he may want to just get a clock into play first with the Tarmogoyf and then start deploying removal. But Jason's showing a lot of respect for what Ross can do when Ross has that extra mana available.
Wooded Foothills will be it for Jason before he passes back over to Merriam. Merriam has to be a little bit scared of Stifle at this point. Does have a lot of fetch lands in his deck, but we'll see if he does fear that card, especially after sideboard. Looking at a Savannah right now is Ross. Looks like we're going to play a Quirion Ranger to begin the turn. Ellis going to take a look at his hand. You see the Force of Will, Stifle, Tarmogoyf, a Wasteland, and a Scalding Tarn. So not the best hand we've ever seen from McDelver.
And Ross with the Glimpse in hand. So I think you may see a development turn this turn and then a combo turn the following turn.
See, Ellis going to take a look, make sure he knows everything that Elf can do, which is quite a bit.
It is an oddball.
Merriam just going to pass the turn back. Now Ellis going to sacrifice Wooded Foothills on his upkeep. He knows what the next card is, so he has no interest in drawing it as he saw from Ponder. Going to go get a Tropical Island, little Jason. And we'll see what the top card reveals in just a moment here.
Kind of hard to keep Quirion Ranger and Symbiote straight sometimes because they both have kind of weird inputs. The costs are not things you see very often.
They kind of do the same thing, but they don't.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of interesting as well. So again, Force of Will, Stifle, Scalding Tarn, a Wasteland hiding out over there for Ellis. Merriam going to give a good shuffle here before the mystery card does go to Ellis for his draw step. We could see Wasteland take care of that Savannah here, as well as a Tarmogoyf to get a clock on the table. We'll see. Of course, Ranger will make that a little bit difficult. There's a Lightning Bolt, less difficult now.
And Bolt's a great draw here as it gives Jason a couple options with this turn. Bolt Tarmogoyf or Bolt Wasteland.
And he says, let me bolt that thing. That's okay. Holy Wasteland now. Will he try to cut the mana? The answer is yes. And with Stifle available for a fetch land too, it's a pretty good turn.
Yeah, just trying to do his best to render Ross's draw unworkable. He doesn't have any of his haymakers. It's hard for Jason to fight a fair game this game, so he's going to try to have to keep Ross from off doing anything. But it looks like Ross's hand is equipped to rebuild.
He was going to start off with a Nettle Sentinel. There's a Cradle into a Wirewood. Will that resolve? And Ross is kind of coming in waves here. There's a Force, removing a Stifle. So Jason really out of action here. Ellis will take a draw. It's a Ponder. Looks like he can reload if he'd like.
Jason very clearly has a game plan. I mean, he's trading resources at every opportunity.
See Daze, Misty, and a Trop. Makes you wonder how interested he is in those cards. Looks like The value of days may be gone at this point.
It's borderline from here. You know, you can imagine Ross just going untap, play Elvish Visionary, and then your days is excellent. Jason has the option of shuffling his deck, so he doesn't have to keep those 2 lands. Now the question is days better than a random draw off his deck? I feel like the answer is no.
He disagrees.
No, he agrees.
Oh, you feel like you feel a random draw is better?
Yes, I
Okay,
feel like
gotcha,
days is worse than a random draw. There are some scenarios where days can be very good here, but I think the most likely scenario is it doesn't do very much.
Well, it's finishing of the ponder in just a moment here. We'll see what the random card will be. Again, we know Ellis' hand right now, Scalding Tarn and a Tarmogoyf. He can deploy Tarmogoyf next turn if he'd like. So there goes the ponder. This is the draw. It was a brainstorm to go on with the fetch land. That's not so bad. And Jason's going to use the Scalding Tarn. Looks like he may deploy the Tarmogoyf right now.
It was worth a pause to decide whether or not you're going to brainstorm here. And I think he may have brainstormed aggressively if Ross had one of his more threatening elves in play. Even something like Birchlore Ranger, something with the potential to generate mana. But it's just an Nettle Sentinel, so I think this is a good opportunity for Jason to establish some sort of clock.
It's one of the least threatening elves.
Yeah.
In Nettle Sentinel. And there is Goyf, so we will get the Tarmogoyf die out there for the sizing of that Lurgoyf. And you do see it as a 4/5.
Ross is a big fan of a thorough shuffle.
It's from the Josh and Layton school of thought, I think. No one shuffles more than Josh. I don't think it's possible. Zenith. Looks like for 0. Get a Dryad Arbor, which can generate some mana for the Cradle. So there's that. Just gonna shortcut a little bit here. The Zenith. Again, we'll see if it's for 1 or 2. It'll be for 1. I suppose it can only be for 1 at this point. I apologize.
And now with Glimpse in hand, Ross has generated a lot of mana for next turn and a lot of setup. So he has all the tools for his Glimpse to be very productive.
Maybe seeking some weakness here. Looks like Jason's going to cast a Brainstorm. You see he's going to draw another Brainstorm, a Stifle, and a Scalding Tarn. He's got to put 2 of those cards back.
I think he wants to keep Force of Will, Stifle in hand. Oh, he's going to do it the other way. I guess he always has the option to brainstorm again if he's forced to respond. Yeah. That makes sense. I was going to say Stifle's pretty low value from here. Maybe it's not a Crater Hoof Behemoth trigger, but that's pretty marginal. Probably what you would want to discard to Force of Will from here instead of that brainstorm.
Ellis is going to just sacrifice this right away, go down to 12. It's very clear he's looking for something specific.
He's looking for removal. He may be just digging furiously for Rough Tumble.
Yeah.
Which I can respect too. I mean, he's again next turn looking at potentially, it's not unrealistic to imagine Crater Hoof Behemoth just getting hard cast. So he may feel like he just needs to go get a sweeper. And even Fork Bolt is awesome here. I mean, it kills an Arbor and a Sybiot, which is insane.
We'll see if he can find it. We'll also give a thorough shuffle.
Yeah.
As you did mention.
I'm surprised Ross has declined his option to shuffle twice with the Green Sun Scene.
Very surprising, actually. There's a Brainstorm. Last card there. Hit 1, Daze, 2, Bolt, 3, Goyf. Maybe you keep Goyf, try to turn up the heat.
Given the way that Jason's played this game, I feel like he's going to bolt here.
Well, you're right about that.
He's been very consistent with the way he's played this game.
Here comes Goyf. That's in for 4. Merriam down to 16.
But Jason now fully shields down. We'll see what Ross can do.
Well, we're going to see all right. Because this is a glimpse. Merriam going to play a Birchlore. Does he draw a creature? I don't think so.
It would appear not.
Yeah. Just an attack for 2. Not the best glimpse we've ever seen. If you're Jason, you feel like you dodged a bullet there.
Absolutely.
In for 4 comes Tarmogoyf yet again. Merriam going to go down to 12. Back up Tarmogoyf. Going to block the road. Merriam going to take a draw here. It's a Misty Rainforest. That's not what he's looking for either. He's got some very big draws in this spot, Natural Order being one of them. But he has to find a card like that.
He can even, I mean, if Jason just goes, let's imagine next turn he just goes attack with both Tarmogoyfs. Ross can go tap Cradle, play my Cradle, tap Cradle, cast Crater Hoof, kill.
It only takes 1 draw for Merriam to get back into this one. He's going to play a Misty. He'll pass the turn back over to Ellis, who will take a draw. In comes Tarmogoyfs. Down to 4 goes Merriam. Ellis just passes the turn. Merriam will take a draw. It's a green Sun Zenith.
Is that it? I mean, does he have enough here? Is 1, 2, 3, the Cradle is 3, 4, 5, 6.
The big question here is, does Ross have another Dried Arbor in his deck? If he does, the Cradles will generate 4 each.
I believe so, yeah.
He's going to sacrifice this. He's going to go down to 3, hoping for no Lightning Bolt.
Well, the way that, I kind of like this play, given the way that Jason's played this, you would imagine that he would have just fired off the bolt on the Birchlore Ranger or something, if that had happened. Because it's not like he needs the bolt to finish off Ross. He has 2 Tarmogoyfs that are attacking for lethal here.
So that'll be 4. That'll be 8. This will be 9. That'll be a Zenith for 8. Nettle will untap from the Zenith. Does this resolve? Ellis wants to know.
It's a lot of damage.
Yes, that's exactly what that will be.
It's a lot of damage.
Jason going to look at his card. It's a Daze. Ross will pay.
Here comes Big Hooves.
That's a Crater Hoof. Trigger, attack. He's on to the finals. Ross Merriam wins this match over Jason Ellis. 2-0. And he is 1 match away from going back-to-back here in Providence.
What is noteworthy also is that not even Stifle would have saved Jason there from the Crater Hoof trigger. That's why Stifle is a little dodgy sometimes against elves.
Yeah.
I mean, there's moments where it can be very powerful, but Ross could have just won by an au natural attack.
Yep. Congratulations to Ross Merriam. On to the finals. He'll be playing the winner of David Shields and Jerry Mee, who I think they might be still in game number 1. We're going to find out in just a moment, of course. But wow, we might see it happen.
It's just one more.
We might see it happen here.
And keep in mind, if Shields wins this match, that's one of the ideal matchups for Ross.
Yep.
And Dave is up a game.